Hey everyone, I'm Heather Moxie and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, a while ago I posted a video of our new home tour and I gave you a glimpse of our pretty basic builder grade laundry room. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I updated the space using mostly paint and pre-made materials. Now don't get me wrong, this DIY will require power tools, but everything I use or reference in this video will be down in the description box below. The first thing I knew I wanted to do in this space is get rid of the wire shelving. Now this is everywhere in our home. It's in our pantry, in the laundry room of course, and in all of our closets. At least in my home, it's not a super supportive structure, and for me personally, I find it to be a huge eyesore. Thankfully, it was pretty easy to take out, but it did leave pretty massive holes from being installed for so long, but I was able to patch those holes and paint over them pretty successfully. Moving on to, funnily enough, the most time-consuming portion of this project, the accent wall. I knew I wanted to have some sort of focus or accent wall in this area, but I was limited on my budget and the material I could use, so I had to get creative. I happened to have a tester pot of paint handy from a very old project, and I used a simple dish sponge to stamp a design onto the wall. Now give me a break, it's our first home. I know it's a sad beige color, but I'm really nervous when it comes to adding color in these spaces. I figured this was a pretty budget-friendly and simple way to give this area an accent wall without committing to something that would be super difficult to undo if I decided I hated it. Once it was finished, we installed a pre-built cabinet from our local hardware store, and we were able to start building the shelves. Now in this video, I will not be walking you through how to build these floating shelves, simply because I used a pretty basic guide that you can find all over YouTube. If you search for DIY floating shelves, I didn't really add my own spin onto this, so it felt weird showing you how to build this when I simply referenced a bunch of other YouTubers. Of course, I will link everything I referenced down in the description box below, and if you decide to use the videos that I referenced, the one thing I will say is be very careful with marking your cuts. Here we installed it incorrectly. We had the front-facing piece installed backwards, and so we ended up with a huge gap in this area. Fortunately, I was able to rip out those nails that you see and flip the piece so that way it didn't have a giant gap like you can see on camera here. Then I was able to fill any of the open seams with wood filler and move on to staining. Also, throughout these shots, you will be able to see our water hookups for our laundry. And I really wish I would have shown a better angle, but you can still completely reach all of the water hookups and connections there. The wood is simply sitting on top of those ports. If we needed to do any maintenance, we would be able to pull the laundry out from the wall and reach those things pretty easily. After fixing that pretty time-consuming mistake, it was time for a snack break, which also happens to be an ad break. Wildgrain is a food subscription service that specializes in naturally fermented bread products. They sent me their bread, pastry, and pasta box to try for free, and they've also given me a referral link. The first 50 people to click on the link and use it will get $10 off their first box. My husband and I tried out all of the products that came in this box. We shared it with friends and family, and it is some of the best bread I've ever had. So be sure to check them out. The link will be in the description box. Once the shelves were installed correctly, I was able to add a couple coats of stain and move on to adding a sealant or a top coat. For this project, I decided to try this new product. I've never used a wipe-on poly in this form before, and my favorite part about it was super easy to pour on and then wipe through with the brush. So far, it's been holding up very well, and it may be my go-to for any future projects. It was really easy to keep my work area clean, and I didn't have to stress about spilling a can. Here you can see the difference between the finishes on all of the shelves. That bottom one is the only one that has the wipe-on poly, and it just helps to add that extra shine and finish. Once it dried, I was able to move on to styling, and that is how I updated our pretty basic builder grade laundry room. We've been living with this finished space for quite a while, and honestly, the only thing I would do differently is if we had the time and the budget, I would love to add a proper tile backsplash to this wall instead of the painted pattern. But for now, don't forget to check out the description box for any references, links to products, or even the cost of this final project. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and I will see you next time. Bye!